When I set out to do this video, my goal was really to make a point that boredom is terrible, it's dangerous, and you got to fight boredom when you're going through divorce and sitting at home alone. But what I decided after a lot of thought is that that's not exactly true. The point I want to get across is that sometimes you have to use that boredom in that uncomfortable space for your own benefit. Don't get me wrong, being divorced, having to reinvent yourself, man, that's horrible. It's so uncomfortable. It's painful. You're lonely, aggravated. You want to place blame on people. You want to blame yourself. You're in a funk. I've been there. I've been in that difficult spot where you feel like everything's going wrong and you feel like maybe you didn't make the best choices. And so, yeah, fighting the boredom is a natural thing. Getting out and being amongst other people and just covering yourself with all kinds of activities. It can feel like it's the right thing to do. It can feel like you have to do that. What I did when doing this video or doing the script for this video and brainstorming is I wanted to really be real about this and say that, hey, sometimes you can't get out. You can't fight the boredom. Maybe it's late at night. But the important part is that you look to find the space when you are at home and when you're alone and when you're in the uncomfortable spaces to where you can explore who you are, some of the things that you might have done wrong, some of the things that you are frustrated at about yourself, and work on maybe not finding blame in others, not necessarily finding blame in yourself, but finding the spaces that you can improve on yourself. Because if you ever hope to have another relationship with another woman, it's really important to stretch yourself, to grow, and to manage some of the things that maybe in a relationship you weren't able to manage. So my point is to take the space, the uncomfortable space, and for a little while, once in a while, soak in it. Sit in that space and see what it feels like to be alone. Because in the alone spaces, you can explore your next chapter. You can explore who you want to become. Really put in the time to work on yourself, work on bettering yourself, so that when you get in another relationship or you return to social environments, you're not a nervous wreck and your nervous system isn't all in shambles. Some of the things you do when you're at home alone, besides just sitting there watching Netflix and endlessly scrolling or even looking on the dating apps, is you sit and you write down maybe some of your goals, some of who you want to transform into, and write down what are some of the new chapters in your life that would pop and excite you. Don't always use the time to sit in sorrow. Don't always use the time to sit in grief. There's space for that. And what I had to do in my difficult times when I was alone after my divorce is I had to force myself to sit there, and I would feel the emotion. I would experience the emotion, but I would experience for a short period of time. And then I would turn that off and I would realize this is not who I'm going to be going into the future. And that's my wish for all you guys. And in doing this video about fighting boredom, it's more of using that time and space when sometimes you have nowhere to go, sometimes you have no one to lean on, no one to call at a given time. And it's okay to take that space and learn who you are again. Because all of our lives as men, you have roles as father, maybe as husband, as someone at the workplace. And there's all these demands that are placed on us and all these scripts that are placed on us. And if you can take the time alone before you get into another relationship and just kind of mull over, well, who would I like to be? Who could I choose to be in this new chapter? What are the new adventures waiting out there ahead of me? What are the new challenges ahead of me? And use that time to reinvent and not be completely sorrowful and sitting around and eating junk food and just kind of in a pitiful place. Because if you do that repeatedly, then you might end up in a depression. You might end up in a really bad mindset. And if you ever hope to be in another relationship again, you want to refresh your mind. You want to refresh your approach to life. You want to refresh your approach to other people. Is it a time where you can explore, well, what type of woman am I attracted to? Am I seeking out women that are just like my ex? Do I need to work on some of the ways that I deal with anger, some of the ways that I deal with frustration? So, yeah, fight against the boredom when you have to do that, when you really just can't stand to be alone or you need the company of others. Oh man, I get it. It's an uncomfortable spot. But also, find those times where maybe you have a long weekend and you don't have stuff going on. Find those times to really put a pen to paper and put your thoughts on paper and make it concrete. Who do you want to become? As you approach the retirement years, as you approach the twilight of your career, maybe the kids are out of the house, maybe you're stuck. You feel stuck and you just don't know what is next for your life. Well, you can kind of come up with a vision for your future and come up with who you'd like to be, the adventures you'd like to pursue in the future. How do you get there? You can use tools. You can definitely use self-help books. I've leaned on AI a lot, some of the AI models to really explore, what do I want my life to look like in 5 or 7 years? What do I want my retirement to look like? And I think that's been beneficial because when I do that, and then I do like a reverse engineer, ask the AI to, help me get to from point A to point B in 7 years. How do I get there? And you can reverse engineer your plan and come up with a tangible, workable plan for growth, and for kind of modeling your life and stepping into a new chapter. My my fear is that we all get stuck in the past, stuck in past relationship. Maybe you left your ex-wife. Maybe your ex-wife left you. Maybe you made some horrible mistakes. These things don't define you. These things are just a reference point. But to define yourself, you can put things on paper of who you want to become, who you wish to one day grow into. And by spending the time, it makes it a little more tangible, more possible to go ahead and get to those places. I wish you a bunch of luck, guys, and definitely fight against the boredom when you have to, but find the times where you can grow, where you can self-explore and come up with your new chapter during these quiet times and quiet spaces. Because there's not always time in life where we have the quiet time. We have the quiet space. Thank you.